What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, ColtDaBolt, coming at you with the very first story time on the channel. I've got a lot of requests. Do a story time. If you don't know what a story time is, you're out of the loop. Let me tell you what a story time is. So basically, a story time is me telling my life in story format. You get what I mean? So you know me as, CDB, but you don't know my life. You don't know what I was back then. And this is a crazy story time. So this is the story time of the time of my first ever injury. Now grab some popcorn, get you some drinks, because this is gonna be a long story time. I want you to sit back and relax and enjoy the show. So basically, first things first, I've never been in the hospital. Alright, so this is the first injury that actually put me in the hospital. I'd never broken any bones, no life-threatening issues, nothing. So I've just been one of those safe kids who, always looks, left and right before crossing the street and everything. I was like that type of person. So basically, this story happened, I think 2 to 3 years ago. So it was recent, but not that recent. So it was when, if you guys didn't know, for 2 years I used to live in Connecticut, and this is crazy. So basically, the story time went like this. In Connecticut, I was going on this trip, going to Philadelphia. We were going to Philadelphia to, see the museums, get some Philly cheesesteaks, just have a, have a good time. So, I decided to go, it was very chill, saw the museum, saw the Declaration of Independence, saw the Constitution, just like any one other person I've never been to Philadelphia before, so it was great. It was a great city. We saw the, bell that had, the crack on it. Very interesting stuff. I just like that history stuff. And then, we got some Philly cheesesteaks, which first time ever, which they were great. And, we were going back, and, it was a good day. And the thing about these trips are, you would go for, the day or something, you would, stay overnight, and you'll come back, the next morning, be back in the afternoon. And the thing is, it'll be during school time, so, these trips would be sometimes, it'll be, every month on, a Saturday, you'll come back on a Sunday, you have homework, and then you have school, so it was the grind, let me tell you that much. So basically, we get back, after Philly cheesesteaks, museums. It was a good time. I got some, souvenirs. I think I have a Abraham Lincoln, a statue or something. I don't know. The point, you don't want to know what the souvenirs were. You want to hear how I got in the hospital and everything. So we get back to the winter cabin. That's what we were in. So basically, this is what happened. It was a typical, stereotypical cabin, wooden door, bunk beds. And here's the thing about the bunk beds. Little history. I think I've only been on bunk beds a few times, but I have never been on the top bunk. Point blank period. I have never been on the top bunk. I've always been on the bottom. And this is the first time I've been on the top bunk. I was just like, you know what? YOLO this. Let's YOLO strat this. I want to go on the top bunk. I'm sure it's no different. I just want that height, I want to be different. I just want to YOLO this. I just want to YOLO this. And here's the thing about the top bunks. As soon as because there's no ladder. Okay, let me just tell you that. There is no ladder on the bunk bed. You gotta climb up this. You basically gotta climb up however you gotta climb. You gotta do some parkour stuff to get up to the top bunk. And here's the thing about the top bunk. It's the bottom, let's just say, my hand right here. This is the top bunk. Right here is the ceiling. I'm not even kidding. I was right under the ceiling. And there was at the mattress there was all these springs and everything, so I did not feel safe. Alright, I felt like I was gonna have a bad time. Sans Undertale joke. But yeah, I did not feel safe. I'm like, oh god, I don't feel safe. So, an hour passes, I'm just on my phone, chilling, checking out Instagram, sliding those DMs. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But, it's time to go to sleep, lights out, blah, blah, blah. So, I go on the top bunk. And, I go to sleep, like normally, like a good person does. I wake up the next morning. And I find out that I'm not on the bunk bed anymore. I'm not on the top bunk. I'm on the cement floor. Because here's the thing. It's the bunk bed, and then, on the floor where, everyone, is, it's, the cabin. It's like a hard cement floor. So, I was on the top bunk. I wake up on the floor. I just have no idea what happened. I don't remember falling, anything. I don't remember. I just feel like I woke up like normal. And I find out that I'm on the floor. And, I wake up. And I don't feel the same. I felt like, a little headache, right above my forehead and everything. I decided, to go outside for a few minutes, get some air, walk around for a bit. Just figure out what the heck just happened. So, I then, finish my walk and everything. And I come back to the cabin and I feel totally fine. Like, I feel normal, like I feel right now. Like, I don't feel bad. I feel like I can, go home, chill, just go on with my normal life. But what I decided to do is, I texted my parents saying that I woke up and, they said, how was the night? The typical, white parent, response, when you're away at a trip or something. Let's see what white parents, how was your night? How was the trip? When are you gonna be home? Blah, blah. Not the first time I'm dealing with that. But I decided to tell them, because, I did not know what was going on. They probably would know. So I just texted them, saying I'm, fine and all that. But just to give them a heads up, I feel like I have like a headache or something because I don't feel the same. So basically, I get a phone call from my parents saying like, Bob. So I was on the phone with them and, I was saying, oh yeah, I have a little headache. I took a walk, I feel fine. And they were basically saying like, okay, you're going to go home at, the normal time, like get home in the afternoon and just give us updates. If you feel sick, you throw up, blah, blah, blah. Just let us know, but we're going to keep an eye on you. And what really honestly scared me a bit was, once again, I've never been in the hospital. I've never had any injuries. I was telling them, I have a headache and everything, and just dead silence, like, I think you may have a concussion. Straight like that. Immature me and all that, I was like, just my heart just sank. Like, I was like, no, this can't be happening. Like, I hear, in school, I think, concussions are like, permanent and everything, like football injuries and all that. I'm like, no, there's no way me falling from a bunk bed, lands me as like a concussion. There's no way. So, we get home and we started driving. It's like a 2-hour drive, back home. And, I'm driving and, I told the driver who was driving us, I said, I may have a concussion. I may, keep a close eye and everything. So that's precisely what happened. And, an hour into it, I feel fine. I feel perfectly normal, nothing bad, no symptoms, no nothing. So about an hour into the car ride, after me just feeling perfectly fine, just keeping a close eye, I feel sick to my stomach. I don't feel right again. I don't have the headache anymore. But I asked for like a paper bag or something, and I ended up throwing up. Alright? And, I ended up calling my parents because, I just threw up and everything. And they said, okay, forget, picking you up and everything. We're taking you straight to the hospital because I think you may have a concussion. I was like, oh my God, there's no way. Like, all this was surreal to me. A simple trip to Philadelphia is going this crazy. So we get back and my parents like, get in the car. And there's like flooring it, like some GTA type of stuff, like all the way to the nearest hospital. And we get there and, we check in and all that. And you say, oh, I may have a concussion, I may be suffering symptoms, blah, blah. And we had to, wait, because there's other people, it's a public hospital. And it's crazy because, my mom never had to deal with anything like this. And there was like no one checking up on us. And we had to wait for like a half hour or something. And my mom was like frustrated or something because someone who was like, apparently the patient that we're like waiting for it to be done, was like cutting a bagel or something, stabbed her eye or something. I don't know. But she was like, we need to be seen. Right now. Everything. So I was like, just calm down. So we, go to a doctor and, showing me like this, hurt scale. It's like, on scale of 1 to 10, how hurt is your head? How hurt do you feel? And I was like, 1. Like, I feel perfectly normal. Nothing, no headaches, no body ache, no stomach, no nothing. I feel perfectly fine, which is the weird thing about it, because you would think if I'm suffering this concussion, I would be feeling all types of things. But no, I'm perfectly fine. And I keep telling the doctor like that, and it's like, I was being perfectly honest. So, the doctor leaves, and I go on this, like, the hospital, emergency bed, see all the TV shows and movies. I then walk up to this connected hallway, which is where the hospital, it's like the other hospital room, where it's like the patients who may need to go into the emergency room, you know what I mean, like the rooms where you like heal. I then go into like that area, and we're waiting for a doctor and all that, and I get up onto the bed, and it's crazy because the doctor comes in, asks me all the same questions, like, what happened, shows me the scale. I say I'm not hurting anything, I feel perfectly fine. And then what happens next is I get taken. I just walk over to this CAT scan. If you don't know what a CAT scan is, you've never had a head injury, you've never been in the hospital before me, before this incident, I'm going to tell you what a CAT scan is. So basically, you lay on your chest and you like put your head, at the x-rays and everything when you go to the dentist. I basically put my head in this machine, and like this little like picture thing like rotates and takes pictures of your skull and everything to make sure I don't have a concussion. We just want to see what's going on. So I do the test, I leave, I go back into the room that I'm waiting with my parents, and about 10 minutes after the scan is done, I'm just sitting there, probably playing Temple Run, checking Instagram, probably checking Facebook when it was good or something like that. I don't know, but it's crazy. The doctor said like the patient, like, my name, has suffered like a skull fracture, and my mom was like, had like a gasp, like she could not believe it. She ended up like leaving the room and like having to take a walk because she could not believe it. And I actually did not hear that. Keep in mind, I did not hear any of that. And my mom left. I didn't even notice, which is the crazy thing about it. I didn't even notice my mom left. And the doctor comes back, he gives me results and says that I've suffered a skull fracture right here. There's an inner blood cut right here, like on my forehead, and I'm gonna have to go into the treatment area, where the patients stay and everything for the night. So I ended up staying for the night, which is crazy. I've never had anything like that before. And before he could leave out of that, they had to put a little IV, which is a little tube like right here on my elbow area, you know, right here. And I did not like that. I felt very uncomfortable because here's what it is. They basically stick a needle right through your vein and then put a little tube, you know, through a little bag or something for like medicine. I don't know. I felt really uncomfortable because they wrapped like 50 layers of like duct tape on it. I just felt so uncomfortable. I was like, for like hours, I just did not move my left arm because I just felt so uncomfortable. And it was crazy, you know, they unhooked the bed, they, you know, wheeled it over to the, you know, room that I was, you know, staying, all that. It was, I just could not believe this. Just a simple trip to Philadelphia lands me in the hospital with a inner skull fracture. And it's crazy because, you know, I stayed the night and everything, and, you know, there was a TV, so I, you know, watched like the Bulls game. You know, Bulls beat the Heat when LeBron was on the Heat. I think Joakim Noah killed it. Just having a good time, you know, just having fun. You know, had a bunch of movies to watch. I was just having fun. And then, you know, the crazy thing about it is, all these long pauses. And I didn't stay in the hospital for like a week or something. Like, I just literally stayed for the night, and then the next day I was cleared to, you know, go back home and everything. So just keep that in mind. And, you know, I stayed the night. You know, it's the next day, you know, we do the sign out papers. You know, we do a little test, like seeing if I'm hurting anymore, if I have any symptoms. Nothing. So I ended up going home, and you know, remember, I went in the hospital on a Sunday. The next day is a Monday, obviously, and obviously I didn't have school. And you know, we get home. I'm, you know, in bed, you know, resting. I'm, you know, get checked on. My parents are just, you know, keeping like a very close eye on me just in case I have a headache again, because I haven't experienced anything like this before. My parents have never experienced something like this before. Like, it's new to everybody. So basically, while we're home, you know, my mom, you know, calls the school that I'm attending and says like, oh, you know, my son has, you know, a skull fracture, you know, up on his forehead, and he won't be able to come to school, you know, blah, blah, blah. And here's the thing. After my mom made the phone call, the doctor called at the hospital and says that, oh, I'm cleared to go back to school tomorrow, which is Tuesday. And just keep it really close. Have, you know, teachers and instructors keep a really close eye on him. But he's clear to go back to school tomorrow. So, you know, I go back to school the next day, and the next day was crazy because I posted, you know, I'm, you know, texting people about it. I posted on, you know, social media, and, you know, like, a lot of people knew about it. And the crazy thing about, you know, I would go to school and, you know, everyone's like, oh my god, what happened, you know, how'd you get a skull fracture, blah blah. It was crazy. And the crazy thing about the story is how, because when I came to school on Tuesday, and for that whole week, I had to go to the nurse's office to, you know, check in, all that, you know, make sure, you know, nothing, you know, was bad or anything, you know, I'm feeling good. And here's the thing about the nurse. Remember how the doctor called my parents saying, oh, he's cleared enough to go to school, you know, there's nothing wrong, blah blah. And, you know, we took the doctor's word for it. I'm at the nurse, you know, at school, you know, during school hours on a Tuesday. The nurse tells me that I should not be in school. I should be home. She was like surprised, like, why are you here? And I was like, what the heck is going on right now? Holy, rabbit tricks are for kids, man. I was like, wait a minute. The doctor said I'm clear enough to go back to school. And I was, you know, I got my phone with my parents, and my parents like talking to the nurse, and it's like, it's just this whole story is going, I don't even know what's going on. And, you know, my parents were obviously really frustrated at the nurse at the school, because the doctor said, you know, I'm clear enough to go back to school, and the nurse was saying like, no, you're not allowed to. And my parents like really frustrated about it. And during this whole week I was back at school, I had to go through a whole lot. I had to go through some restrictions. For example, I could not, during my lunch break, I could not eat in the cafeteria. I had to go into the nurse's office in this dark room by myself, because when you suffer a concussion, skull fracture, the light, the noise of all the people, like, it will just not mess you up, but it will just be really frustrating in your head and all that. So they want to make sure that was minimized. So I couldn't be any lights. That means I couldn't play basketball a week. I had to say that I was out. I couldn't, go on the radio. I couldn't do so much stuff. And God, I hated not being able to play basketball all that, because I was killing it. Playing basketball. And it's just like, come on, man, I want to play. I want to play, but no, I couldn't. I mean, it is what it is. I was back next weekend, killing it like normal. But it was definitely like a crazy week being back after the hospital from a concussion. After that trip to Philadelphia, like, it just still blows my mind. Like, a little trip to Philadelphia, just chilling, turns into this whole hospital, skull fracture, nurse mishap, everything. Like, it was just, really, how did stuff that change that fast? I still cannot believe it. And that's gonna do it for this story time. I hope you guys enjoy. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. And yeah, I would say more story times are to come. I have a lot of fun because, for one, you guys get some entertainment out of it. I think these are really fun to do. And you also get to learn more about me, because you only know me as the person who uploads, very bad, 2K videos and all that. But it just has that, bro to bro relationship, feels like a family, you get to know more about me personally. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.